It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, my friends, let me ask you a question. Who's taking care of $6.2 million in the city of Hazleton? November 7th, you have an opportunity of putting the right people in office. Very, very important. Please vote. Today we have on the show John Nilles and Tommy Bruno. Both of them are aspiring to become city council, to be on city council. A lot of things are important for the citizens of Hazleton. We have to address them. Nice to have the both of you here on the show.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks for having us.
The city has been growing. A lot of things happen, changes all over the place. Let me start with you, John. First of all, you're a veteran, retired veteran.
Yes.
And
U.S. Navy.
And G-Force parking lot.
Correct.
You paint lines.
Started painting parking lines about a year ago. So anything that's commercial, industrial, to light business, we're doing the striping for them.
Then you brought me back to memory lane with your dad and Jack Palance and Jimmy Ustinowski.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that was going back. Now, you were also a supervisor at 911.
I was.
That's a challenge.
Very.
Tell us a little bit what happens there.
911, you dial for an emergency. You get the call taker. The call taker processes your emergency within 15, 20 seconds, has your name, address, what's your location of the incident, and what's the problem. And they're sending it over to the dispatch side for fire, police. And while they're doing that, they're continuing to get more information from you, and they add that into the call. So someone who's having a heart attack or their house is on fire, they get that over very quickly so they can get the tones out and get people responding. And as the responders are responding, then they get the updates that they're getting off of the information from the call taker of what's happening. So it really, within 30 to 45 seconds, you really have a call going out and people responding to that emergency.
That's fantastic.
So we would average 400 calls a shift. We were doing maybe nice time 1,500 calls a day. Winter time with a snowstorm or whatever, you can go up to 2,300 calls in a day.
Wow.
With 5 call takers.
Oh
Which 911 is hurting right now for dispatchers. It is a very hard job. It's very stressful. But once you get into the system, it's a good job.
Wow, and you were a supervisor.
I was for many years, and then I went into the executive office up front. I moved up front before I retired.
All right, so now you have a successful business. You know, you're doing well. Now you want to aspire to be a city council person.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me why.
I've been in politics through my family or my father, who was on council for 8 years. I served on the Hazleton City Water Authority for 7.5 years, 2 years as chairman. I serve as chairman of the ATV board, which is the all-terrain vehicles currently. People who are running the streets illegally with their vehicles, the police are impounding them. They'll come to us to try and get their vehicle back from us. So it's a little bit of a process there, but I've watched the city grow over the years, and we're expanding even more. A lot of people don't visually see it because they see just pieces of articles, but we're going to be building 16 1 million square foot buildings, warehousing in the city, around the city. So that's going to increase our volume by maybe 15,000 vehicles per day coming in and out of the city. So it's going to tax police, it's going to tax fire, because you're going to have more traffic, you're going to have more accidents. Where are the people going to live? Which we're going to talk about housing. How are they going to incorporate the school district? Where are they going to go to school? Where are these people going to eat? So the city is going to very expand. We went from a city 100 years ago having the world's largest silk mill manufacturing with 2 breweries in town. With the major coal industry, we've now flipped into warehousing the whole northeast corridor is expanding and blowing up with this type of business. So between York and New York on 81, there's like 150 1 million square foot buildings that are being built. So there's going to be more traffic. And of course, Hazleton having the crossroads of the US, 80 and 81, we're getting most of that traffic with that crosscut.
Based on what you're saying, John, you're looking at some challenges here.
Yes, we are.
And you need, I think, in putting a team together and working, you need to have that cooperativeness from the administration as well as council.
Correct.
In order to improve what you want to do.
Right, and the teamwork that I got instilled being in the military and being up at 911, you work as a team. That's what we need to do at council and the mayor's office, is to work as a group, as a team, whether it's behind doors for certain things that need to be discussed or in the public, so everybody has their transparency of what's going on, but for the greater good. Everybody deserves a good quality of life, a good place to live, safe and secure, not have to worry about certain things, and take a look that, you know, they're living in a nice home and people around them are taking care of their properties as well.
Tommy, you know, your band is fantastic.
Thank you.
You know that. Even though you won't let me sing in the band, it's
That's
fantastic.
what keeps it fantastic.
And well, hey, I'm the host here today. No, really, I think everybody knows you, okay, but that's one thing. Knowing you and as an entertainment, and you know, and you have a lot of fans, people respect you. But we're looking for a councilman now. We're looking for someone who'll go in there and do a job other than popularity. All right. So tell me, what are your concerns?
Well, I'm a lifelong Hazleton resident. I live in my family's home that they bought when I was born. And I care about the community. I have a little more time in my schedule now, and I wanted to give back. I don't plan on leaving Hazleton, so I'm concerned about the direction it's going in. And I think things have improved in many ways. I mean, with good always comes some bad. And I look at properties in my neighborhood or around town that I've seen my whole life that have been run down, that people come in and fix them up, and they're beautiful now. And there are so many more people coming, so housing is a very big issue. I am also a landlord. I own units all around my neighborhood, and I have for years. And taking care of these properties, I try my best to keep mine up. I'm always doing something, putting new roofs on, new water heaters, just to keep things up to par and to keep my tenants happy, which most of my tenants are long-term tenants. But it's important that people coming into town do the same thing, because it's our town and we have to live here.
How are you going to address that? Because that's the concern when you see some of the buildings and some of you go to your properties, they're all fit the way they should be. They respect the town. But then you go and you see other places that are just, you know, shameful. And I think the mayor, Cassette, will address some of those things and what they're doing about it. But how would you address that as a council person?
Well, what I see going on with council from attending meetings and whatnot, my point would to be there and get the ideas from everybody. There's a lot of people that show up for meetings and give their input on what's going on, and I would like, and I know, because I do know a lot of people and I'm very accessible, I think I'd be a good person to listen to their concerns and have them. I don't think it should just be my opinion on what has to be done. I want to work with council and with all the people of Hazleton that are interested also, and with their ideas, and try to help work things out.
Do you have any ideas or plans of what you'd like to put into effect with the cooperation, of course, with the mayor?
Plans to correct things? I think my plans are more to focus, see what we want to focus on, and then figure out how we're going to deal with it.
John, in terms of crime, that's always a concern. You know,
Yes.
Hazleton has sometimes perceptions are terrible. You know, people perceive different things. I was there with my business many, many years. I never had a problem at all. The city was always good to me and the station. But sometimes people see things and change isn't the good change. How would you address those?
I think you have to take a look at the city as a whole as we progressed. And what Tommy said too, we've had a lot of influx since 9/11. 9/11 changed a lot of things where people from New York, New Jersey moved inward. They were afraid of getting attacked or hit. And they also saw the quality of life was cheaper to live here. So a lot of people moved in, and then they would still drive into New York to get that higher salary and then come back here to live. So we've had the turnaround. What comes with that also is the bad with the drugs or whatever, and we have that problem because we have the interstate system where this stuff flows through. So crime itself has stayed at a level. What people get to see is in the newspaper is the spikes. Someone attacked someone else, someone shot at somebody, different, that, and then everybody goes, oh, crime is crazy in Hazleton. Crime is the same as it's been for the last 30 years. I worked as a police dispatcher for the city of Hazleton when I came back from the Navy. And I could tell you, back then, there was no minority present or whatever, and through these last 30 years, we've had a level of what we're going to have. It's the spikes when we have all these different things happening. And the mayor has, in the last 8 years, increased the police presence, has made many upgrades, and it's keeping a hold. We have a good force of guys who are out there, and girls, that are attacking as soon as something happens, getting the right information, finding out who did what, and getting them off the street. And that's the basic goal of what the police need to do, and they're doing that. So I think what we need now is, because we have such a language barrier of different cultures that have come to Hazleton, we need something to try and get people together. Years ago when we were growing up, our doors were open. People came, my neighbors came right into the house and said, hey, here you are, how are you?
That's like Tommy Bruno's house.
Yeah, the same. We all grew up in the same location. So, you had that. People now I have a security system on my house. I'm afraid to talk to my next door neighbor. I had neighbors move away from me, new people come in. It took a little bit of time, but we all became great friends. So I think talking to people is what we need more of. So people get away from that fear factor that this is the way things are. People are here to stay. The city is going to influx more. We're going to need more of housing. So, like St. Joe's Hospital, that is something that's going to be brought up, but it needs to be, what code did was, you need a definite square foot of space just for a living. You can't downsize it to something that it's a square box for someone to live in. So you need something that's a little bit better in those respects. But there's other places that we can start doing things. Outside on the city off of Club 40, they're going to be putting in townhomes and some homes. So, and that's helped out because the Water Authority ended up putting in a 16-inch main out through there when they had the GRDI system, and the state gave us the grant money to put a whole new water system throughout into Stockton. So that's helping growth in that respect for more homes for people. So the cost of living with inflation going on is raising people's prices as well. So unfortunately, it's raising all the other prices for rent, cost of living, power, whatever is going on, so it's getting harder. And unfortunately, the jobs that we have currently in the area are warehousing jobs. So they only pay X amount of level. So if someone wants a higher price job, they're looking outside the area. And they're doing their traveling to do their job and come home to still live in Hazleton.
In the housing situation, I see here that, each you have a different expertise in different areas. You in the housing and safe housing, how would you go about addressing that, safe housing and expanding on what we need in Hazleton? Tom?
Well, safe housing, people just need to have the knowledge of how to, you don't just buy a property and then say, okay, well, I bought a property, I'm going to throw some people in. There's a lot more to it than that, and you need the knowledge, or hire somebody, like a good property manager that has the knowledge of how to take care of a property and keep it safe.
You've been around the city, Tom, so you see that Some houses, and I think Mayor Cassatt addressed that, and he's doing something about it, is you have some people have more than what they should have in the house. You know, there may be 4, 5, 6, 7 families, 8 families, which is dangerous. I think we talked about that. How do you address some of that, helping the mayor with resolving some of those things?
Exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you can't, I have rental units where I have big basements. I could throw an apartment in a basement, but you don't do that without approval, doing it right. And they don't have, it's not safe. People do put people in basements, and they may only have one entrance in and out, which isn't safe. But this is, once again, is people buying properties that have no knowledge of how to run a property or of the city's laws on how these properties need to be run.
And you'll address those?
If whatever needs to be addressed, we will address.
Thanks. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Same thing with garages. People are trying to convert garages
Yeah.
into living space, and they're not designed for that. There's no sewer, there's no water. So, you know, you're not the proper square footage for someone to live, egress in and out. The other thing is, from the fire department side, I haven't gone to calls in a long time myself personally, but hearing from the other guys of electrical problems and issues. People stealing power from one side to the other, and they're overloading circuit breakers, or they're not doing the proper insulation or whatever. So when a fire does happen, it's going right through the whole property very quickly, because they're not doing things by code. They're not asking for code to come in. They're not getting their permits. And that's what we need to do. We need to make sure to help the mayor get the code office is getting out there and getting people to understand that they have to have inspections before they just open the door and say, here, you get to live here.
And that's where the teamwork is so important.
Absolutely.
Working together with the mayor. I'm sure you're going to agree to disagree, but the point is that if you're working with the same purpose. Folks, I'm talking to John Nilles and Tommy Bruno, running for Hazleton City Council. $6.2 million, my friends. You're paying for that through property tax. We need experience in office today. We need experience. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. I want to thank the Hazleton Steiner Speaker, our media partner, and also the Pottsville Republican Herald. They're our media partners. And for all of the election results, go to the papers. They have full results for you. My guests today, John Nilles and Tommy Bruno, both of them are running for Hazleton City Council. I want to thank them for investing in this show to bring you information. You know, my friends, we need experience, and to go out and get people who are experienced to run for office today is a challenge. So I'd like to congratulate anyone who's running for office. John, you come with a lot of experience. Tom, you come with a lot of experience. There are a lot of issues that the council has to address, and then, of course, work with the mayor. Recreation, you know, I'll start with you because that's one of your fortes.
Well, recreation in the city since I was young has improved greatly. Starting off with that City View Park that's been invested in, and it just keeps getting better and better up there. They just added a beautiful playground. There's pavilions. There's a big stage for performances. Like I said, it just keeps getting better.
I wanted to, you know, you said about City View. After Jeff Cassatt was on the show the first time, he talked about that. Some people went up to take a look at the place, and they couldn't believe what they saw, how fantastic it was.
Oh, it's amazing.
You know,
how it started and where it's come to at this point, and there's more plans to improve it even more.
It's a hub, you know, for a lot of good recreation as well. So we have that. How about the playgrounds?
The playgrounds are all being redone. I know there's a big project going on. What's the one behind on 15th Street there on 14th and 13th?
McKinley? Is that 14th Street?
They have that where they had the skating rink down there where they play hockey and stuff. They're doing that all over now too. It's all ripped apart and it's being worked on. There's plans for all the playgrounds. Some have already been done, but that also the YMCA is getting back together. It should be open soon. Yeah. I mean, we are going in a positive direction for recreation.
Paving has been, you know, I've been to some streets. You can't do everyone, but all of them. But
paving's very expensive.
But they're getting
every year they pick a certain area. It's for years, as long as I can remember. So many streets get done.
We hear a lot about code enforcement. John.
Yes.
And as we were talking on break, there's a lot of things involved with that. It's just not just going out and hiring someone for $28,000. But as Mayor Cassatt said, you're looking at $100,000 when you're done. Am I correct in saying
Correct.
that? Okay. What would be your direction for code enforcement?
I think what we got to do is give the mayor's office some support and take a look and see what is actually needed. How many people are actually needed to go out on a daily basis and say what is their expertise that they're looking for. So if someone's looking just at housing, or someone's putting a new roof on, is there someone doing electrical, things of that nature. So as you add people, you're going to add millage to a price tag for people that are going to spend more on taxes, because we only have X amount of money. So obviously people say, oh, I need police department, so the police budget is higher. We need fire protection, we have the fire protection at its level. Next comes, we don't have an EMS because that's taken care of off the county or city's time. To code enforcement is our next thing. Some people have even asked, why isn't there a health department anymore? Well, a lot of these things take services, take money to accomplish. And as you do that, we're going to have to add more to the budget, which was going to require more millage increases in taxes. So it's the question of how much can the people afford in taxes with inflation going up to what we got.
And that's where fiscal management comes in.
Correct.
And that's where, you need to have people who have experience to zig when they have to zig and zag when they have to zag. And that's so important. Why I tell anyone who's voting for office, who's going to office, look for the person who has the experience, because you're going to pay the price. I mean, if you put an inexperienced person in there, I mean, then you end up paying the price, because it's like I said, if you think education's expensive, try ignorance, okay? And that's what happens with anyone who's going for office. I applaud anyone who's running for office, but you guys bring a lot of experience.
Right, and when I was on the water authority, the same thing. We could say, hey, we want 10 more people, but what is that going to do to the budget?
Yeah.
All these guys have all of their health benefits and stuff that is required. You need more vehicles, you need more uniforms, the whole 9 yards, so it builds up. So what can you do for less?
But it's not just about raising taxes, because
Correct.
our tax base is increasing.
Yeah.
The more people
That's-
we get, we're
yeah.
getting more money in, so then that could give us more services.
And Tommy, people are struggling today. They're struggling with inflation. They're struggling with energy costs. They're just trying to make a living. They're trying to get out there, and they want a town that they can feel safe in. Everybody's proud of Hazleton, and it's a challenge. But like you said, raising taxes is easy to do when you don't do your job well. See if we can zig or zag when you can. Would you agree?
Yes, but what you're saying is just basically about quality of life, and people want to have a good place to live. What people have to understand is it's not just the city's job. It's not like when you go into a hotel and you stay and you leave and somebody comes and cleans your room. People buy houses. They have to take care of their houses. I was out hanging Halloween decorations on my house the other day, and my neighbor was up by my house picking garbage up off the street. That's what people have to do. You don't just depend on the city to do everything, or if you want the city to do everything, then you have to be willing to pay that. But if you want to keep taxes down and you want the town to be nice, people have to step up too and take care of their properties and take care of their neighbors.
You certainly enjoy the town, because you only, what do you get, about 1 million people coming through your place?
Halloween, I just wrapped 1,050 bags of candy.
Oh my God! I remember when we did the show up there. Your place. I mean, you were crazy.
It's fun.
I mean,
It's
you
a
guys
fun
really
time.
go into it and helping, and the kids love it. The families.
The town
love
loves it.
Listen, we got about a minute left. What do you think? Why they should vote for you guys for city council, John?
I think they should vote for Tommy and I, because we bring a lot of experience, understanding. We are the power city. We want to keep the progress of the mayor and how the direction of the city is going. And if that's what you're looking for, then you should vote for us.
Okay, Tommy, anything in closing?
This is my city. I love it. I could live anywhere I want to live, and I have no desire to go anywhere else. But I want the city to be all it can be, and I want to be a voice for the people that live here. They know they can come to me and give me their concerns, and I'll do my best to make things better for all of us.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show and investing in this show, so you can tell people what you're all about, okay? But there's a lot more involved, okay, that people do not know, and that's where we need people who have the experience. John Nilles and Tommy Bruno running for Hazleton City Council. My friend, check them all out. Look at their backgrounds, experience, because you'll end up paying the price. Like Tommy Bruno says, we don't need to be raising taxes. What we need to do is expand. John Nilles with his experience in supervising, etc. That's important. That's important to come into a city and then, of course, working with the mayor, agreeing to disagree. We'll see you next time.